and welcome to Friday's edition of the program. I'm Millicent Walker. We start in the easternmost country of Africa, Somalia, where at least 20 people have died after a car explosion and gun battle in the capital, Mogadishu. Now, 40 others have also been wounded by the blast in front of a hotel center of the city. According to reports, exchanges of gunfire continued throughout the night between police and the suspected Al-Shabaab militants as they launched their assault on a street lined with hotels, shops and restaurants.
This is one of the heaviest blasts to hit Mogadishu in recent times. Suspected Al-Shabaab militants launched a suicide bomb attack on a hotel, killing at least 20 people. Security forces battled to dislodge the militants from a nearby building where they were holed up and surrounded by soldiers. Spokesperson for the Amin ambulance service says some 60 people have been injured. The militants shot at security forces who tried to get into the Makkah Al-Mukarramah hotel to see if more dead or injured people were inside. The hotel facade and surrounding buildings were badly damaged by the blast and wrecked vehicles nearby. Somalia has been convulsed by lawlessness and violence since 1991, and Al-Shabaab is fighting to dislodge a Western-backed government protected by African Union-mandated peacekeepers.
Over in Egypt, 6 people have been detained in connection with a locomotive that smashed through the buffers and burst into flames at Cairo's main train station on Wednesday. Public prosecutors ordered the arrest of the train driver, his assistant, another train driver and 3 other rail employees for 4 days. Pending investigation into the incident, preliminary investigation indicates the driver stepped off the train to talk to another driver without pulling the handbrake, causing the unattended locomotive to speed off and hit a concrete platform. On Thursday, Egypt's Health Minister Hala Zayed said the death toll from the crash rose to 22. Rights group Amnesty International is shocked and dismayed of what it says is the rising use of the death penalty in South Sudan. According to the group, at least 7 men were executed by hanging in February alone, including 3 members of the same family. Most of those executed had been convicted of murder, but Amnesty says at least 3 of the cases were shrouded in secrecy and relatives only learned of the deaths after they had been committed. More reports from Amnesty International shows the South Sudanese authorities executed more people in 2018 than in any other year since its independence in 2011. The organization's Deputy Director for East Africa, Saif Magano, warns that if the trend continues, it could possibly compete with the likes of China and Iran in terms of the numbers executed. Elsewhere, Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir has delegated his powers as the head of the ruling National Congress Party, NCP, to its recently appointed deputy head, Ahmed Mohamed Haroun. There have been more than 2 months of widespread protests calling for Mr. Bashir to step down, but he's not giving up his presidential powers. Demonstrations have continued despite a nationwide ban. At least 30 people are known to have been killed. The NCP said Mr. Haroun, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court for alleged war crimes in Darfur, would remain in charge until the next General Conference. Last week, Mr. Bashir dissolved the government and declared a state of emergency, giving the armed forces more power. And the U.S. government has congratulated the people of Nigeria on a successful presidential election, also President Muhammadu Buhari on his re-election. In a statement by its Secretary of State, Michael Pompeo, the U.S. government, while commending all Nigerians who participated peacefully in the election, they condemned those whose acts of violence harm Nigerians and the electoral process. The statement also notes the assessment of international and domestic observer missions, affirming the overall credibility of the process. While calling on all Nigerians to ensure successful state elections next week, the United States restates its commitment to working with Nigeria to achieving greater peace and prosperity for both countries. Well, away from the talking about staying in Nigeria, this time in Adamawa State, northeast and part, some beneficiaries from the federal government social investment programs, they are excited about President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election. Now, the beneficiaries are from NPAR program, the Poor and Vulnerable Group in the Cash Transfers Initiative.
Seated here at the banquet hall of the Government House in Yola are some of the beneficiaries of the federal government's social investment program, an initiative designed to reduce unemployment among the youths, empower the poor and the vulnerable through financial inclusion in order to boost the economy. These individuals, whose lives have been impacted by the various clusters of the intervention program, converged to congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari on his victory at the just concluded presidential election, and to also use the opportunity to appreciate the government for transforming their lives. The Adamawa State Governor, Mohammed Jibrila, while congratulating President Buhari, assures beneficiaries of the social investment program of his government's commitment to collaborate with the federal government.
To celebrate the victory of our President Muhammadu Buhari under the platform of APC. This is one of the schemes that was organized by the federal government in order to help our youth. And as you can see, 95% of our audience here are youth, and they have greatly benefited from the federal government.
The state focal person of the social investment program in Adamawa State, retired Commodore Sally Bowles, and some of the beneficiaries highlights the impact of the program and assures the president of their support.
One of the areas which I'm always impressed with the effects of the social investment program is the school feeding program. Because for the few months we have started the school feeding program, the enrollment in the schools has almost doubled.
I have a place where I'm selling the phone accessories and a lot of things from the NPower salary that we normally used to collect at the end of the month, which is 30,000 naira. So we are really in support of Mr. President.
At the just concluded presidential election, the opposition party won in Adamawa State, but these beneficiaries and the state government look undeterred in their support for the Buhari-led federal government.
In Liberia, some of former Presidents Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and former central bank head Milton Weeks have been detained over the alleged disappearance of over $100 million. Now, justice officials confirmed Mr. Charles Sirleaf's arrest in the capital, Monrovia, Thursday night. He was a deputy governor of the central bank during the unlawful and unregulated printing of close to $104 million worth of local banknotes. The arrest is in connection with the Kroll Associates forensic report in which Mr. Sirleaf was implicated as one of those involved in the illegal printing of the banknotes. Justice Minister Frank Musadeen says he now has 48 hours to charge both men.